Hey guys, welcome to the Mind Medic Academy. My name is Max Otazu, and in this episode, I'm being interviewed by Dave Carson from Free the Mind UK, and we'll be talking about consciousness, hypnosis. We'll be talking about mental health, and I'm going to give you 4 quick techniques that you're able to use to greatly reduce your levels of stress immediately. Stay tuned.
Not sure what therapy to choose? Free the Mind UK presents A Chat with a Therapist. Join us live for an up-close informal discussion of the various holistic therapies available, helping you make that important choice.
Hey!
Hey Dave, how you doing, man?
My fantastic guest, Max Otazu. How are you, Max?
My friend, man, I haven't been with you for a little while. I think the last
been a little while.
like we worked with each other was probably about 8-10 months ago or so.
It was indeed. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, Max. It was amazing.
It was fantastic. It was a great time. To everybody else, hello, my name is Max Otazu from the Mind Medic Academy. You can see that back right there. Just to give you a little bit of an idea of who I am and what I do, 2002 to 2006, I originally was working as a 6336 in the United States Marine Corps, which is an avionics electrician working on C-130s. And I got into this world of mental health by way of a hypnotist. So we had what is called a safety stand down. And if you don't know what that is, about 72 hours, 96 hours are longer weekends. What we would typically have is we would have a group that we would all get together and we would have a safety stand down. And we would talk about things to keep us Marines safe during that 96 or 72 hour period of time. So this particular event, we had a hypnotist come in and he did his thing. And I was amazed. I was blown away. I saw things that I had never seen before. And it caught my curiosity. So I was 19 years old, 20 years old, didn't really think anything of it any further. And I just kind of let the idea go. Fast forward some 10 years late, well, maybe not even 10, maybe some 8 to 10 years later, I saw this video on a guy by the name of Darren Brown. And I'm sure that you have heard Darren Brown there, Dave. Darren Brown.
Oh, yes, indeed, my friend.
He's from the UK as well. He's a hypnotist. He works with magic, showmanship, deception, and some other stuff. Anyways, the whole long story short, I saw a clip where he was working with 2 cartoon artists. And the idea was that he was going to predict what these 2 cartoon artists were going to do. He'd never met these 2 cartoon artists. They've never met him. But through a series of suggestions, he was able to get these 2 cartoon artists to draw a logo for a zoo or for a funeral home or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was so close to what Darren Brown had initially planted for them. So that caught my attention. I saw that this idea of being able to plant a suggestion, be able to guide somebody's thoughts, how they feel, how they respond with life, that floored me. I thought it was absolutely incredible. Fast forward a couple more years, I'm in the master's program to become a licensed professional clinical counselor and a marriage family therapist. And I have to do a paper on PTSD. PTSD is one of those deals that it's always been pretty close to my heart anyways, just because I do have a couple of friends who have had to deal with it before. But anyways, my point is I had to do research on PTSD and I had to look up symptoms and I had to look up accepted forms of treatment and what it looks like and on and on and on. In that process, I got on YouTube and I just typed in PTSD and I just typed in something to the effect of like treatments or something like that. And I found that hypnotherapy was an accepted form of treatment for PTSD. And that kind of like, it brought me back around to like Darren Brown. And I'm just like, man, I've seen him do some pretty incredible stuff. I wonder if there's any sort of correlation. So I did it. I got on YouTube again, and I went down that YouTube tunnel that everybody talks on. I typed in PTSD hypnotherapy, and all of a sudden, this guy by the name of Carl Smith from the UK Hypnosis Academy came on. I was able to watch him do an actual session with somebody, And it blew my mind at how effective it was. Okay. Remember, I've been doing all sorts of other research on CBT. I've done research on different anxiety medications, on depression pills. And these stats, nothing was anywhere close to what I was watching with hypnosis. And so I ended up contacting Carl. I said, hey, I'm really interested. I'd like to learn more. He wrote me back. I found out that he's an incredible guy. He's a very personable guy. Needless to say, he's been my mentor for some time now. And the idea is you just keep practicing and learning and practicing and learning. And so now here we are in mental health. We're trying to figure out what we're going to be doing, trying to just help the world get better one day at a time. Yeah.
What a beautiful thing, Max. What a beautiful thing. And we were on a similar journey, weren't we? Because that's how we met each other, really, through watching Carl.
Yeah,
like you say, incredible trainer, and he was giving all this information away for free. It was incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did get to spend some time with him. I got to spend some time with him, learn from him. It didn't just stop at hypnosis. Hypnosis was just one of the stopping points along the way. But we have opened up to a holistic style of mental health where we're offering ideas about nutrition. We're not just doing mind. We're also doing the body as well. We're making sure that our diet is correct, that everything is working properly, that you have ways of being able to reduce the stress around you, and not just reduce it from a day to day, but actually try to expel it from your system.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I wanted to share something with you. This is something that I've been working on, Dave. It's something that I've come up with just recently, within the last probably week or so, maybe 2 weeks. But I want to talk about very quickly this idea of consciousness fatigue. Okay. I want you to kind of think back to when you were a child. Just go back to when you were like 4 years old, 5 years old, 6, 7. Think about how much of your imagination you got to use. I mean, you were using it all the time. We played cops and robbers. We were superheroes. We built forts. We had imaginary friends. We had tea party. So you were using your imagination all the time. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But as you grow up, you start introducing responsibility. So I remember that when I was a teenager, my first job was at this Italian restaurant. It was called Marola's down in South Florida. And I realized that very, very quickly, you are now getting paid to do a job. So you are no longer on your own program. You have to abide by what somebody else wants you to do at such an allotted amount of time for an allotted amount of money. And you have an allotted position, a task that you have to do. Mm-hmm. Well, think about how much imagination you actually get to use during that time. You don't. You don't.
Not a lot, Max. Definitely.
So we have this idea that you have to work. And so as a kid, you're going to school all through the day. You get home, you take a shower, you head off to work. You do your job, you come home, you take another shower if you get sweaty, and you go to sleep, and you rinse and repeat. You start your day all over again with the exact same routine. Mm-hmm. Later down the line, you start going to college, you go to university. Some people, they end up in residency, but you have this I have to work. And so we have these social constructs, these media-driven constructs, political constructs, that you have to work for things, constantly working. And everybody, they're trying to chase that dollar. Everybody's trying to play the popularity game on Instagram and on YouTube. Everybody's, they're grinding. It's a constant grind. You're no longer working 4 to 6 hour shifts. You're now working 8 to 12 hour shifts. And then when you get home, many times, some people, they have wife and kids or husbands and kids. Mm-hmm. And you're working there as well. You're not just, with your kids and with your family. You're many times helping them with homework. You're helping pick up the laundry. You're helping put away dishes. So you're still working. You're still grinding. and you haven't really had the chance to just relax and decompress and really get to use your mind. So I started really thinking about things, and I realized that you stop using your imagination as you start getting older. And what really kind of clued me in on this is when I started noticing that when I worked with people who were excessively intense about their jobs, or they were just very, very busy all the time, when those guys dropped into trance, it was like a drug for them. I mean, they loved it. It wasn't like the average person that they go into trance, they come out, and then they're okay. They continue to work with you and they're fine. But I noticed that when people that they're like nurses, that they're like 12 hours on, 12 hours off, they're just constantly grinding, constantly going through that attack, that movement. Those are the guys that when you get that opportunity to just decompress, it's just like great weights that just fall off. So I got to thinking a little bit more. I said, Dave, and you know this, you're a hypnotist, so you know this, but much of our work, at least a portion of our work, we require imagination. It's a imagination, a guided imagery, some people want to call it. But the idea is that you are working with somebody using that person's imagination to deal with some of the things that are happening, again, up here. I think that many times people kind of forget that stress is not something that's external, but it's internal. There are stressors that are on the external, but everything is on the inside. Everything from the chemicals that we put in our bodies, caffeine. I recently watched a video on the Joe Rogan Experience. There was a doctor that came on, and he had said that he had swore off caffeine for 3 months. 3 months. 3 months without any caffeine. He said that when he tried his first cup of coffee after 3 months, he said he had a hallucinogenic experience.
Wow.
And we're loading ourselves with that stuff all the time. We constantly have caffeine coming in. We're taking sleeping pills to go to sleep. We're pushing, we're driving, we're cranking, we're moving, we're doing this, we're doing that. And I haven't quite, I don't have all the strings quite knotted together, but I really think that this is a sort of consciousness fatigue that's happening to us. With our anxiety levels are higher than ever, the hypersensitivity that we're experiencing amongst people around us, that's higher than ever. When realistically, all you need to do is just kind of just sit for a second and just allow yourself to daydream. That's it. Now watch. I want to make this little caveat. And then Dave, I want to welcome you to say whatever you want to say, but I want to place a line of delineation between consciousness fatigue and bodily fatigue. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you've come home from work sometimes and you're just exhausted, and you just sit there and you just turn on the right song and you have a 3 to 4 minute song and you're just able to just sit and relax, it's like you get that second wind. You're just able to continue doing whatever you need to do. Whereas if you're physically tired, 3 minutes listening to a song isn't going to do anything for you. You're tired. I'm done for the day. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think? Any input?
Well, I think you've described it perfectly. I mean, it's a very, it's a very stressful life we all lead. There's so much going on. And like you were saying, people, they go to work, they come home, they have their shower, they have their dinner. A lot of people watch TV all night. And you've got all the negativity from the different programs. Then you've got the news, which is a real downer, so it all compounds on the mind and probably triggers people and stuff like that. But I think you're on the right track there, Max, in the sense that consciousness fatigue. So many people have forgotten what it's like to be childlike, and I don't mean immature childlike. I mean, to have that sense of freedom again, where you were, like you were saying, able to play those imagination games. You were so much in your imagination. I mean, I remember it really well, and I loved that time. And you're right. As soon as you get to your teens and you get jobs, and then you have your own place, and you've got all these pressures on us, and people, like you say, they need to take time out, make a special time in the week, even if it's only one day a week, where on this evening, this is, I'm going to do this so that I can, center myself, ground myself. And,
Absolutely. That you just nailed it right there. It's grounding yourself. It's centering yourself. I use that terminology actually quite often. Yeah. If you look at the Hindus, what are they doing? They're doing chants. They're doing mantras. Christianity, there's prayer. With the Buddhists, they do long periods of meditation. Shamans are using psychedelic plants. But the reality is that they're taking a moment to step away from the grind, the pressures, the stresses, the strains of life, and they're in touch with themselves, with God, with whomever their respective God may be, if they have one. Nature, for some people, I guess.
Absolutely.
I think it really is. It's a consciousness thing, and I think that there is this idea. People are afraid of the word consciousness. So when you say something like hypnosis is an altered state of consciousness, I think people assimilate that to that they're under a great inebriation, like an intoxication, as though you were taking lots of pills, or you were just drinking like a fifth of Jack or something, like that. You're just out of your control. Consciousness is nothing more than your five senses and how you perceive life. That's all it is. Some people may say, well, there's a sixth, and you talk about that, and that is what it is, however you want to believe. But the reality is it's the way you perceive life. And so if your perception of life is something that is very positive all the time, whenever you have a moment where you see things negatively, that would be a roundabout way saying that you've had an altered state of consciousness. So when people are getting afraid of this term of hypnosis being an altered state of consciousness, number one, I think that people have the wrong idea of what hypnosis is, because you are always in your own power, your own control, these are all suggestions. You choose whether you want to take them on or not. So that's the first thing. But number two, hypnosis is not to be afraid of. It's another tool that we use in mental health. That's all it is. It's nothing demonic. It's nothing evil. It's nothing. It's just focused concentration. That's all it is.
Absolutely, Max. Absolutely. I wanted to go back to the daily grind and mention the TV again, because I basically haven't got a TV anymore. I haven't had a TV for quite a while, and the amount of stuff I can do in the form of creativity. Because like I might spend 4 hours a night watching several programs, and now I'm able to use those 4 hours for me. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. So I recommend everyone just get rid of the TVs. Definitely a good start, but then you've got phones. Yeah. I mean, I have to be honest, I do use my phone quite a lot, like a lot of people do. It is like a TV, really, and I think it's important to take it easy on that as well. Definitely.
Yeah, and even going back to the idea of TV, I mean, you are in an altered state of consciousness when you're watching TV. Yeah, your perception of everything behind you and around you is almost null and void, because you're so focused on that TV.
It's hypnosis, Max. It's hypnosis.
Absolutely. People don't admit that, but yes, you're absolutely right. It is hypnosis.
When you've got all the negative stuff coming on, you're taking it in on several different levels, probably.
I mean, if you just listen to marketing, the way that they try to push things on you, It's hypnosis. Marketing is nothing more than just a formalized hypnosis. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well,
But yeah, I think more than anything, I think what we really need to do is we need to find a sense of a homeostasis of our consciousness. And then, I think that we're good. I think that it's not so much that we have our highs and that we're constantly grinding. It's not that we have our lows and you feel really just kind of sad for a day or two. But finding that homeostasis, finding that middle ground and just being able to kind of stay on that middle ground, that will reduce your stress immensely.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's one thing you can do, Max. I mean, you can go out for a walk. If you're lucky enough to have a park near you with trees and stuff, it's such a joy to get that oxygen in your lungs. Be around nature, and it's free.
For sure. And if you live in Bakersfield and you want to take a walk, you can take my dog Spartan for a walk. He'd really like that.
It's quite funny, actually, Max. I love dogs, but I haven't got a dog. But I've got several friends with dogs, and I call them up and I'll say, "Hey, is Buddy up for a walk?" And they'll go, "Of course he is." And I'll go and collect them. And animals are fantastic, especially dogs.
They are.
And cats.
They really are. So, hey, I wanted to try to do a couple of different techniques that we can put to practice immediately, try to help people deal with their stress as it comes on. I think that one of the biggest challenges, it's not so much remembering a technique, but it's remembering to apply that technique in the middle of the stress.
Exactly.
I think that that's the biggest thing. I can teach somebody something and they have all the head knowledge in the world, but it's just like when that moment of stress comes on, it's like everything just goes out the window and they're
automatic, isn't it? Go into automatic mode. Yeah.
So the very first thing I want to talk about very, very quickly is breathing. And I know that this is one of those things that people are just like, yeah, but you breathe all the time. Why are you even mentioning this? Well, the reality is that when you get stressed out, you stop breathing deeply. You stop breathing really, really shallow, like right here, just because you're stressed out. Well, what ends up happening is that you start getting all sorts of extra just cortisol. You have your blood pressure goes up, your heart rate goes up. And so it ends up pushing you further down that line of stress. So one of the very first things I teach people to do is immediately stop. And before you even start breathing, I want you to recognize that something is going on in your body. Before anything else, when you're stressed out, stop and just check your body. Notice what's going on. Feel what's going on. I want you to notice that your breathing is just a rather than a. Okay? So I want you to first notice what's happening. Then start slowing your breathing pace. Don't immediately start trying to just go from 100 breaths a second to 6 that you're going to pass out. Okay. It's not going to work. It's just going to be bad for you. I'm just kidding about passing out, but it's very comfortable. It'll make it a little worse. But I want you to, if you're starting to breathe at let's say legitimately, let's say 40 breaths a minute, I'd imagine that'd be roughly about average. So if you were breathing at 60 breaths a minute, like one breath per second, then you start backing it down little by little to about 50 breaths a second. Then bring it down to about 45, then about 40, until you are able to comfortably speak as you're breathing. Because what happens very often, and I heard Barry Neal mention this too, but you end up talking like this and everything gets really bad, and it worse, and it just perpetuates is what happens. So what you need to do is you need to start breathing, and you can even start speaking as you're doing it. So you can say, I am feeling better. And within 4 breaths, you're already creating distance from that stressed out you to a much more just centered and focused person. So that's breathing very, very quickly. It's very easy.
Great.
Yeah.
Great technique, Max. Great technique. Especially slowing the voice down, because as Barry says, you're like everything's going 100 mile an hour when you're in anxiety or high stress, and just combining the breathing with saying everything much slower makes a massive difference.
It does. It makes a massive difference. Just saying things slower, intentionally just moving slower. I don't know if you've ever noticed when you get stressed out, you become very kind of like jittery and very like just static, very kind of like,
Yeah.
If you
absolutely.
intentionally begin to move slower, your body will catch up. Everything will begin to come back into a sense of homeostasis. So that was one tip. Another
That's
thing
a really good tip, man. Really good
it
tip.
is. It really is.
Can I just say, Matt, before, okay. I just wanted to say that we have got a few people watching at the moment. So the people that are watching, if they want to, give Max a question about anything we've been talking about, fire away, because it's always good to have some questions, some good feedback that we can feedback to.
Yeah.
So sorry, Max, just wanted to mention that.
No, not at all. Thanks for letting me know, because I don't see anything on my side. I don't see where anybody's commented.
Yeah,
or
as soon as if one comes up, I'll bring it on the screen.
Okay, for sure. So that is number one.
Yeah.
Number two, I have another grounding technique. Grounding, it brings you back down to ground. It's not like a grounding like you're connecting with nature and you're putting your feet on the ground and you're creating an electronic circuit. This is just a grounding technique, something that we use to get somebody's focus again, so that they're not panicking or spinning out. This one is going to involve your five senses. So what we're going to be looking at is your VACOG, your visual, your auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory system. So you have your sight, smell, sound, taste, and touch. Okay. So you're going to count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, using all of your senses. So what it looks like is the very first thing that you want to do is I want you to say 5. And you're going to visually look at 5 different objects. Visually look at them. Now, here's the key. It's not just a quick glance. I see it, move on. I want you to begin to look at it with a sense of novelty, as though it's the first time you've looked at it. Okay. What happens is, at a neurological level, it starts kicking on your, I forgot the system, what it's called. It's a filtering system. I forget what it's called at the moment. I'll think of it later. But the idea is, you have this system. I don't know if you've ever noticed that when you buy a vehicle, you've never really noticed how many vehicles are on the road until you purchase it, and then you see it all over the place.
Absolutely.
Or you learn a new word and you've never heard it before, and all of a sudden you hear it all. Reticular activating system is what it's called. It's the reticular activating system. So it's a filtering out system for things that don't mean to you. Okay. So I want you to begin to start looking at things, okay, as though you're looking at it for the very first time. So look at it, inspect it, notice that there's differences in shades, in colors, in the depth of something. Visually notice all this. Okay. So that's 5. The next is going to be 4. So you're going to kinesthetically touch something. So this is where I want you to find something that has a texture. I don't know if you can kind of capture this on screen, but here we go. Okay. So you see this? I actually have texture. It's like a topographic kind of type texture on the back of my phone. So what you can do is you can visually look at it. And now I want you to physically touch it. I want you to feel the differences. I want you to notice that there's elevation changes. I want you to notice that there's texture changes. Okay, so you want to find 4 of those. The next I want you to do is I want you to check your auditory system. So you're going to be finding 3 different sounds. So right now in my house, I have very, very, very softly, but I have some music being played. So I can hear that. I will try to tune into that music. Next, I'll be like, you can tap on things. You can create that sound, but I want you to listen to it Get a sense of what the sound is, the tone, the pitch, the clarity. Does it sound muddy? Does it sound hollow? So that's your auditory. Next is 2, okay? Olfactory. This is where you want to smell something, okay? So I have some lemon ginger tea right here. This is where I will go in. You smell it. And again, you don't just want to, okay, got it. But you want to, with a sense of novelty, as though it's the first time that you've ever smelled this item, you want to notice the citrus, notice the spice, notice the sweetness that's in there. Notice that it's a very fresh, lively type, okay? So you want to try to do those for 2 different things. And then the last thing you want to do is your gustatory system. So some people will say, and I have heard this said before, that you can just taste what is in your mouth. I personally don't like this because you have it in your mouth all the time. It's nothing new. It's nothing novel. So what I like to do is I tend to actually carry mints around with me almost 90% of the time. I have some mints around me. And Altoids, they say that they're curiously strong mints. The idea, again, is you want to be able to feel the taste, get a sense of what's going on, the mintiness of it, the bite of it. Notice what's happening in your mouth. Is your saliva beginning to pool up? Are you starting to feel? Okay, now watch. Check this out. You've gone through your five systems, your 5 senses. You've spent no more than maybe 10 minutes maximum. 10 minutes maximum. I want you to check in with your body now, after you've done all that. Notice how different you feel. You're going to feel massively different. Why? Because it's not just here that you're just spinning the same tune over and over. Man, I'm going to get fired at work. I'm going to get fired at work. I'm going to get fired at work. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm going to get fired at work. Now you're expanding out to just, I'm going to get fired at work, to, okay, now I can I can get things under control. I have my visual, my kinesthetic, audible, olfactory, and my gustatory systems all firing at the same time. And now I am keenly aware of my senses, everything that's around me, and I'm able to realize I can relax. I don't have to feel spun up.
Absolutely, Max. And I love this technique because it's creating a sense of awareness. You know, to like take the time to notice something like you're looking at it for the first time. It creates that sense of awareness. And the more you develop that sense of awareness, the more chance you've got of being aware when you're triggered, rather than going into that automatic behavior and forgetting to do your techniques and stuff like that. I did a video on it a while ago, and it was about brushing your teeth, because everyone brushes the teeth. And on the video I was saying, notice what the brush feels like in your hand. You know, notice what the sound it makes when it goes over your teeth. And most people, you know, they just brush their teeth. But when you take that time to actually become totally aware of what you're doing, it's interesting because it's so unusual. And I think, you know, it can definitely, if you can develop that. I mean, all the great sages and all the great wise men say, don't they? You know, awareness. If you've got awareness, then you've got choice. You know, if you know what's going on,
absolutely. Dave, I am glad that you mentioned that. I am so glad that you mentioned that, because that is so accurate. I think that what troubles so many people with mental health is that they feel they have no choice, that it's always going to be like this. I'm never going to change. I'm always going to struggle with this. And it's the always and never routine that everybody likes to play. As I just said, everybody, I started with indefinites. But yes. The reality is that within 10 minutes, you can have a completely different persona on life. Yeah. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And they're very simple techniques, Max. So fire it away with another one, Max. Another technique. Right. I know you've got loads of them.
So the next
I will do some as well, obviously. But go on.
Yeah. So the next one. So anybody that's watching at home right now, watching this, there is about a 3-second delay between when Dave speaks and I speak. It's not that we're slow. It's just he's all the way in England. I'm here in the United States, and just that ping sometimes is just a little bit. There's a little bit of a delay. So, anyways, going on with that. This is for the people who are able to actually really kind of connect with themselves very quickly, and I want to call this. I'm kind of just giving it a name of clone therapy, but the idea behind this is. All I want you to do is I want you to get into a very quiet place, turn the lights off. And all I want you to do is just sit there. Close your eyes, and I want you to imagine the perfect replica of you. Everything absolutely the same. 100, it's your clone. And I want you to imagine that there is that clone sitting right across from you. And I want you to begin to notice everything that's going on, everything. Notice that person's tone of voice. Notice the way that they move. I want you to begin to kind of key in certain elements, just a sense of feel about it. What is that person missing? What does this person need? Because the reality is it's you, but you're operating at a subconscious level because you're now no longer thinking about yourself in your body. You're thinking yourself as a dissociated sense. So now you're able to objectively see yourself, and you're able to see where there are faults, failures, things that need improvement, areas that you need to mature, things that need to be fixed, relationships that you may need to mend, things that need to go on in your life. You're able to separate yourself from it. You are now no longer in it, but you're able to observe it. This is the difference. Sometimes when people try to meditate, they're so into it that their brains are just going in circles. I need to relax. I need to relax. I need to relax. Okay, I got to notice that the light's off. Okay, there's nobody around me. I'm here by myself. And they have this inner dialogue. Oh, just going. And they're never able to actually drop into it. But with this, when all you have to do is just visualize yourself, use your imagination. This is what I was talking about in the beginning of using your imagination. Use your imagination to see yourself across from yourself. And notice the things that are deficient. Okay. And if you really want to amp it up just another notch, notice the areas that you excel at and then push on. So this is a beautiful way of working with somebody. If I'm doing a session with somebody, this is one of the things that I learned when I was working with somebody and using interventions. If you ever remove something, you always have to backfill. Else something is going to fill its spot. And you don't want it to be something negative. So what I will do is that when I'm working with somebody and I remove something from them, i.e. trauma, stage fright, whatever the case may be, when I'm working with somebody and I remove something from them, I will always bring them to this place in this exact clone therapy, and I will run them through this same procedure, but I will get them. I want you to notice all the great things about yourself. I want you to become really cognizant about the fact that you are an incredible person. You are
well done, Rex.
You are. And I will get them to associate to that, and I will have them step into that body.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times people emerge from their session with me and said, Max, that was phenomenal. That was life-changing. I've heard people say before.
Can I just say, Max, taking that technique up another notch, you can do this technique yourself, yeah, like you said, with yourself, yeah? Yeah. Well, I'm thinking, look in a mirror, like a full-length mirror, sit in front of the mirror. And it's very interesting when you look at yourself in the mirror, actually, and focus on yourself. So I think that would be turning up another notch. Some people, unfortunately, can't look at themselves in the mirror. But, you know,
here, this is, to be honest with you, I was very, very close to posting this on Instagram, maybe about a week ago or so. But I was going to do a mental health check. Smile at yourself in the mirror for 15 seconds. If you can't genuinely smile at yourself for 15 seconds, you need to give me a call.
It's Max. There's so many people that cannot look at themselves in the mirror. I've
Yeah.
come across it a lot, actually. It's a good indication of where you are within yourself. I mean, for me, there's all the techniques in the world, yeah. But for me personally, it's a sense of self-love.
Yes.
We had a guest on last week that was talking about self-love. And if you're lucky and you've got parents that instill that in you, whereas a lot of people aren't that lucky and don't have a sense of self-love. I think that the self-love is a good foundation for everything, and last week we were talking about education in schools, Max. How many? I don't know whether they're starting to change it, but they should have lessons on managing emotions, on like things like meditation and being more aware of who you are and and how you're acting and how you're responding and stuff. And I think there's a massive hole there, which would make a massive difference to the kids that that are going to be coming forward. Like my children, they're only 11 and 14, bless them, and I've taught them so many techniques. And I say to them, "Oh my God, I wish I had a dad like me when I was your age, teaching me all these techniques," because it gives you a head start, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the beauty is that you're preparing them now, giving them information that, to be honest with you, we've paid a lot of money for.
This is what I keep telling them, Max.
Oh my God. I have paid so much money for many of these courses that I've taken. I'm still paying on it with student loans.
Absolutely, and they're getting it, getting it for free. And God bless my daughters. There's one in particular that uses the techniques. She actually uses them and has noticed how helpful they are. Lucky for them, they've had a good foundation of love as well. So it's which gives you confidence as well. It gives you so much, definitely.
Absolutely.
And that technique you were just doing then, again, it's all about about awareness again.
Yeah. And self-love.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
self-love.
Exactly.
I actually kind of, to be honest with you, I kind of want to go revisit that statement that you made about not being able to look in the mirror. I think that is a lot of what happens with mental health is people are afraid to face the abyss of what they might find out, what they may have to work on, how long it's going to take them to overcome it. And so what many people do is they just try to ignore it. They try to mute that naughty noise. They try to keep themselves so busy, so occupied that they just don't see it. It's just like, man, you're not doing yourself any sort of service. You're just kind of covering it up just to find it later on.
Absolutely, Max. And there's one really important thing that everyone forgets. Well, for one thing, most people don't pay enough attention to their bodies, the vehicle that takes them through life. And also to realize and know that they're not who they think they are most of the time. They are literally incredible specimens of existence. I mean, we've got the most incredible thing in our brain, in our head, the brain, which I think, as far as I know, is the most incredible thing in the universe that we know of, for its intricacy and its ability to do whatever it does. And I think people lose sight of this. They lose sight of who they truly are. And they've got all these layers of
who everybody else tells them they are.
Exactly. It's like, this is the thing. And they take all this on, it's sad to see. But, people like us, hopefully, we're going to show these people who they truly are and what they're truly capable of and how they can truly love themselves.
Yeah.
And be the best version of themselves, Max.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%, Dave. I think that there really is a a great divide between how connected people are with their bodies. I think you're absolutely accurate. I think the only time people really are paying attention to their bodies is, number one, when people start talking about COVID and automatically everybody wants to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
But besides that, nobody's paying attention. Nobody's paying attention. You have a migraine, you just pop a pill, just continue on. But you're not connected. You're just covering up. When you can, oh man. I liked what you said also about that you do develop. I remember before I really started getting into mental health, I've always had a very good hold on what mentality is and working with people. But I never really noticed that how I come across until I started really working with people in mental health. I realized that because when you start working in mental health, you start noticing other people's little idiomotor responses, that they're like little twitches of the face or whatever. So you start noticing that I'm creating some sort of uneasiness in somebody. Well, that causes you to reflect, and it causes you to improve, so it's no matter where we're at, guys. Whether you're a therapist or you're in the therapy chair, we are always on a mission to self-improve.
Every day is a mission to be the best version of yourself. I've always said, Max, if everyone did their best to be the best version of themselves, it'd be a completely different world, completely different.
That's facts. That's facts. You wouldn't have people trying to rob, rape, and kill.
Exactly. And the other thing as well with mental health, and I'm not like having a go at mental health here, but it's that same old story. When I was younger, because I'm a bit older than you, Max, we didn't have the mental health thing going on as much as we do today. And it's really important to have mental health awareness. But at the same time, I think it can be a double-edged sword, because, when you have a label, it's like you have a condition, you do something, and then the doctors will come up with a name for it, and it sort of reinforces it and make it more real, it's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
It is thought for another time. But it's great to be helping people with this. It's a fantastic feeling, isn't it, Max? When someone goes away and they're feeling better for just helping them, react in a more aware, more. I don't know how to put it, but you know what I mean.
I do.
Have you got any more techniques, Max?
I do. I have one last technique that I can share.
These are going to be useful for people, definitely. You can do these at home, everybody. Watch this video back, and people who are watching this, use these techniques, because they really do work. Sorry, Max.
They do work. And here's one thing that I think some people do need to kind of be cognizant of is there is not one technique that works for everybody and for every situation. Again, I've given you 3 techniques so far. I'm about to give you a 4th one here in just a second, but it's one of those deals that here's another thought that I want you to think about. You don't put on weight overnight. It takes time to put it on. It also takes time to put it off, to get it off. It doesn't just come off overnight, I guess, unless you do liposuction. But there is no liposuction for mental health. There is no quick remedy. That's it. Never have to struggle with anything again. I mean, I've had hypnosis sessions with somebody with PTSD, and they said, man, I'm a completely different person within a 2-hour span. But that doesn't mean that he's 100% healed, completely recovered. There is still a process that he has to go through of processing, integrating, understanding what had happened, realizing that there are going to be steps that he's going to have to take so he doesn't revert back to that old style of thinking and acting and feeling. There's a multiplicity of different things that need to happen.
There is.
The reality is that everybody's looking for that one magic pill. There is no one magic pill.
They've got to take responsibility, Max.
Yes.
And accountability.
Yes.
That's so important.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So,
what's 5 minutes technique, Max? And if anyone's got any questions, fire away.
All right, let's do it. Let me get a piece of paper.
Hey.
So I am actually putting this on my online course. Actually, 2 of these I'm actually putting on this online course. So you guys are getting content for free.
Wow. Fantastic.
At the top of your page, I want you to just do a little square. And this is reverse for me. So my apologies.
I'm going to do it with you, Max. I'm going to do it with you.
Okay. So what I want you to do is I just want you to do just a little square right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Inside that square, you are going to write a number 1 through 10. Okay. And what number 1 through 10 is going to be for your SUDS scale, your subjective units of distress scale. Okay. Right. So what I want you to do is I want you to check in with yourself, search your body over, your mind, your spirit, whatever. And I want you just from a scale of 1 to 10, 0 for 1 being very, very minimal to 10 being the most excruciating amount of distress that you can possibly imagine. Get a sense for how stressed out you are right now.
Well, I'm feeling really good at the minute, man. But yeah, okay. I'm going to think of something. I'm going to think of something.
I'm going to put a 4. I'm going to put a 4 just because I want to show the process. Okay.
Okay. I'll put a 5.
Okay. So then just under that number, I want you to write the statement, even though I blank. And then just under that, write, I choose to feel blank. Okay. So it's going to look something like this. So even though I blank, I choose to feel blank. So whatever your issue is at this moment. So if it's stress, if it's anger, frustration, envy, anxiety, whatever the case may be, I want you to put that in that first little box right there. So even though I feel stress, I choose to feel
fantastic.
Fantastic. I like it. We're going to raise the stakes.
Hey, why not? Got nothing to lose.
Fantastic. God, my writing is chicken scratch. So this is what it's going to look like, okay? So you'll have a number 4 in a box. You'll have it, even though I blank, I choose to feel blank. So even though I feel stress, I choose to feel fantastic. Okay. So the next, I didn't print one out. This is my mistake. Along with this video, if you want to watch this back, I will also have Dave add a PDF and it'll show you all these tapping points and I'll give you an idea of what's happening. But I want you to start with this because we're not going to go anywhere until we get this first. Okay. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to look at this diagram and Dave will have it up at some point in time. I'm sure. I trust him.
I will.
But the idea is that we're going to be doing what is called EFT, emotional freedom tapping techniques. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to begin to tap a series of points on the body. These are what we call meridians. And you'll feel a certain sense of energy, a tingling, a sense of blood rushing through, but you will feel something as you are tapping. Okay. So what it's going to look like is you're going to have your statement here, even though I feel stressed, I choose to feel fantastic. And you're going to combine that with your tapping sequence. So the very first tapping place that we have is going to be right at the top of the head. Okay. So what I like to do, and everybody's got their own little technique, but I like to take these 3 little fingers, your thumb, your index, and your middle finger. And I like to do a little like a chicken beak or something. I don't know. But you just begin to tap and you'll begin to say at the same time, even though I feel stressed, I choose to feel fantastic. Even though I feel stressed, I choose to feel fantastic. And you'll do that 2 rounds. So you'll go from your head to just under your nose, to your chin, to your clavicles. You'll go to your armpits. You'll go to your thumb, your forefinger, your middle finger, your ring finger, your pinky. You'll do a karate chop. And then ultimately you'll get into what we call a 9 gamut. So right in between your 9th and your 10th metacarpal, 4th, 5th metacarpal, whatever you want to call it, left or right hand, doesn't matter. There's going to be a little channel that's there. I want you to tap in that little area right there. Boom, 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 boom. So it's going to be, even though I feel stressed, I choose to feel calm or fantastic. Even though I feel stressed, I choose to feel fantastic. Next, or right above your eye. I'm sorry. It was the top of the head, above the eye, side of the eye, under the eye.
That's it, Max. You got it. You got it. Because I was going to say, Max, when I put the PDF up, it's going to be a bit different to that. But yeah, I get it now. Don't worry, everybody. I'll put it up. He's got it.
And again, there is a note on that PDF that states that the order of the sequence doesn't really matter. It's just the idea that you're doing it, that you have intent, that you're tapping as though something is happening. Again, there is that sense of novelty. Do it as though something is about to happen. So even though I feel stressed, I choose to feel fantastic, side of the eye. Even though I feel stressed, I choose to feel fantastic, under the eye. Even though I feel stressed, I choose to feel fantastic, under the nose. Even though I feel stressed, I choose to feel fantastic, under the or on top of your chin. Even though I feel stressed, I choose to feel fantastic. Your clavicles. I like to cross just because it's easy.
I know. Well,
you can do it that way too. Yeah, let's do it. So even though I feel stressed, I choose to feel fantastic. Your armpit, ba 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 ba, da 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 da, going down the line. You're gonna karate chop, and then you'll do your 9 gamut. And bro,
do you know what?
So what? Hold on. Almost done.
It's
Almost
one of
done.
Go on.
Now that you've done that full circle, this is where you're going to check back in with yourself, and you're going to make another box. So you're going to have another box right here. You're going to check back in with yourself, and notice how you started as a 4. Check back in with yourself. I pretty much guarantee that you're going to have at least 1 digit lower or more. So if I check in with myself, now I got a 3. If you are happy to stop at a 3, you're fine. If you want to continue moving on, you want to continue to feel fantastic, just keep going. That's the beauty of this. So that is
I love that technique, Max. It's like it's my go-to technique. I've used it for the last 15 years, and it's got me out of so many situations. And not just got me out of situations, but amplified good feelings as well. You know, if I wanted to feel confidence, using the setup, it's fantastic technique. Love it, Max. Love it. And really I always give that technique to all my clients to go away with and use. I haven't met many people who it doesn't work for, to be honest.
Yeah. Now there are differing opinions. Some people say it's Chinese medicine, and then you're tapping meridians. Some people just have said it's just acupressure points that are on your body. Whatever it is,
it doesn't matter. Exactly. Yeah. This is another problem that we get too involved in the details. Often it doesn't matter. If it works, then it works. Max, can I share a technique with you?
Please.
And the people, I'm just going to check, see if we've got any comments. I'm surprised we haven't had any comments yet, Max, but that's no problem. Anyone watching, if you've got a comment for what you've seen so far, please put it on there, and I'll put it on the screen, and we'll answer it, or Max will answer it.
Yeah, matter of fact, tell us who you are and where you're at in the world. We'd love to be able to connect with you in any way. Just type who you are and where you're at.
People are watching the recording of this. If they've got any questions, leave questions, and we'll make sure they get answered as well. So the technique that I'm going to share with you is a psychosensory technique. So we're obviously a bit like EFT. We're using the body, you're tapping on the different points. And this is just a couple of techniques from Havening. It's been around a little while, but it is relatively newish,
I'm very unfamiliar with Havening. So whatever you have, I don't know anything about Havening.
Okay, so one of the first techniques for Havening that I come across was you basically cross your arms over, and I'm sure that's got something to do with the positive and negative polarities of the body in some way. I don't know the technical side of it, but basically all you do is you just bring your hands down to your foot, like to, I'll see if I stand up. So you just come to like there, and then you go back. Yeah. So you're stroking yourself basically. And what I like about this technique is it feels like you're having a hug. You're hugging yourself. How wonderful is that, Max? I mean, that's fantastic. Apparently, it creates delta waves. I believe, I think Barry mentioned this once on one of his videos. Creates delta waves, which is really good for your body. I think it's what babies create when they're babies. Delta waves. I'm not 100% sure, but if you're stressing out and you do this, then you're going to find that you're going to start feeling so much better. And there's another technique as well, which is on the palms, because we've got millions of nerve endings in the hands. And it's one of the most important parts of the body, to be honest. But anyway, just stroking your hands like this. And it just feels so nice.
And
so you do the patting down of the shoulders. You do a bit of that, and then you come to your face, and you just very lightly and it feels, try it, Max. It feels so nice. You just feel great. I mean,
so this is
if you're stressing out and you start doing this.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a while. I didn't realize that this was havening. I thought havening was like a whole system of.
There you go. There you go. I mean.
This is nice, man. Yeah, I've been doing this for a while, especially the hands and face. I've not really done the arms, but the hands and the face because of all those nerve endings. Absolutely.
Yes. Exactly, mate. Exactly. It definitely makes a difference. If you're stressing out and you start doing these techniques, like the techniques Max has shared, you're gonna feel better. There's another one as well.
Did you know about that one little spot right behind your ear?
Oh, go on,
like if you dig like right under your earlobe, I mean, some people don't have earlobes, but there's just a little channel that's made. If you just kind of rub right in there, just softly, like right around here.
Oh, okay, I've got it.
Yeah, you'll feel that there's like nerve endings in there too, and it just immediately kind of calms you down as well. Same sense, the same thing that's going on here, just right here, and you don't look as awkward doing it. Well, my point
is this is the thing, isn't it? Some of these techniques, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've got one other technique, Max, which is a TFT technique, thought field therapy technique that Janet Thompson shared in her talk a few weeks ago. And it's basically my microphone. I'm going to take it off a second because it'll probably make too much noise. But you basically just tap just by the clavicle. I'm trying to get it so you can see. By the clavicle bone. Now you don't do it sort of like with EFT. It's a bit more of a bash on there, a bit more firmer. But apparently this is like the spaghetti junction of the nervous system situated around this area. And just doing this can really calm you and relax you. And the other one, going back to EFT, which is normally the setup for EFT, is the karate chop. Yeah. And if you do this for a minute, you're going to feel better. And the same with the EFT. I love the way you do the negative. You're telling the brain what the problem is, and then you're telling the brain the solution. You know, I'm upset, but I choose to feel happy. You know, you can also do those techniques without saying anything. Just tapping on those points will relax you. Yeah, absolutely.
Without saying it, but again, there is that positive hypnosis that you're giving yourself. You're giving yourself those positive affirmations of
absolutely.
I'm going to feel fantastic. I choose to feel fantastic.
Yeah. I've got one more, Max, that I don't think it's a thing, but I tried it and it worked for me, right? Okay. And because I trained in integral eye movement, which is, movement to the eyes, all connected with the nervous system, etc., etc. So recently I've tried this about 3 or 4 times. Something's come on my mind. It's a little bit troubling. I'd normally let it go quickly anyway, because that's what I like to do. Mm-hmm. But I had this troubling thought, and all I did was, while I'm feeling the thought, I just moved my eyes right far to the peripherals, left and right, trying to keep my head straight while I was worrying about that situation. I don't know if you can see my eyes moving, Max. Yeah. And after like 30 seconds, it dissipated, completely dissipated. Yeah. So that's something else you can try, and you can actually do that covertly. Like doing this, in your workplace might look a bit. I mean, I've got to be honest.
Hey, Bob, how you doing? Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm over here. We're about to have a cup of coffee. Everything's fine. Yeah. Don't worry about me.
I mean, like, to be honest, I would probably do it anyway, because I don't care. I don't care what people think. It's like, I'm going to do it. It's like, I remember when I used to do a lot of healing. I'd be at a bus stop, and there'd be someone there and I'd get chatting, and I'd be doing healing on them at the bus stop. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I didn't care. So that was great. Anyway, doesn't matter. Going off target a little bit there. Yeah, so let me put your website up, Max. That's quite important, because people can obviously work with you, Max, online. You do online sessions.
They can work with me online. I use Zoom, or if they want to come to me in my Bakersfield office right here in my home, just make sure you contact me first so I could let you know where it's located.
Yeah, and I've worked with Max, and he's fantastic, and I highly recommend it. He's a true professional.
Thank you very much.
Indeed, and fairly soon, Max is developing your training, aren't you, Max? So that'll be online at some point soon.
Right. So I want to catch everybody up on kind of what has happened. Originally, when I first started, I had just maxotazuhypnotherapy.com, and that was running for a while. And I just noticed we're talking about mental health and that big void that's in it. What I've decided to do is I've decided to go back and try to fill that void. So what I'm doing is I'm offering online support. So it's mentoring, and then I'm also doing online training. So I will be having a bunch of videos that's going to be up. It'll be through, it'll be on Thinkific. So if you want to go directly that route, or if you want to come onto the website, you can do it that way as well. It is not, from the dates, today is June 30th, 2022. It is not ready yet. But here very, very shortly, we'll be getting that up and ready to go. And we'll be able to help you with any sort of mentoring that you want, with online therapy, with in-person therapy, or even some online training just in mental health.
You've got a YouTube channel as well, haven't you, Max? I've watched quite a few videos. Very interesting.
You can see me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
What's your YouTube channel called, Max? Is it
Mind Medic Academy? Everything across the world, you can find me on Mind Medic Academy.
Congruency, I like it.
It's simplicity.
Indeed. Well, look, Max, I'm sure everyone's enjoyed this chat. We've covered lots of good techniques, or you have, that people can do at home. We've talked, about lots of different things that I'm sure are going to be very interesting to people. And, those that are watching the recording or even watching live now, and this is the first time you've watched this channel, please share and subscribe, because we really want to get this message out there. We have a different therapist on every week, trying to cover different therapies, so that we can sort of educate you guys on what's available, because there's so much stuff out there, isn't there, Max, that's available that you can use to sort of get some direction in your life, and go forward in the best version of yourself as you can. But Max, I think we're gonna
wrap this thing up.
Close down now. I don't know how to say it. I've really enjoyed this. Man, we'll have to get you on again. We'll have to get you on again, Max. It'd be fantastic.
This has been so much fun. Great opportunity, Dave. It's always a pleasure to be with you. I do consider you a friend of mine. You're not just somebody across the pond. I do consider you to be a friend. give me a call, holler at me, whatever you guys need, whatever you want, and I'll try to help if I can.